Hello, Designing with Type, week 2. Here is my weekly screen sharing recording to kind of kick off the week. I'm a visual learner, so I know that many of you are, so I like to record a step through of the Blackboard course each week to kind of show you what may have been submitted week 1, give you some inspiration for the next week, kind of clarify directions for the projects, and just let you hear my voice kind of describing what we're going to be doing each week, which I think for many is very, very helpful. So I hope it's helpful for you. Great job on the week 1 learning activities 1 and 2. I did post a couple student samples that were created for the 2 projects that I think were done very well. The very first one being having to use a typeface, a traditional typeface, all the upper and lowercase letters, all the numbers and symbols in a creative way into an abstract poster design. And this is one where it just gets me seeing how you're thinking visually and how you use space, positive and negative space, and how you explore foreground, middle ground, and background. I kept the directions very open-ended from what I expected, other than having to include those basic elements to see what the problem-solving side of your brain was telling you as it relates to the requirements. And I get everything from people creating houses and trees to an abstract blob of overlapping letters and numbers and symbols into one kind of unique shape, all the way down to a little bit more of a telling a story, which is Hannah's poster here, which I thought she did a really good job with the light and the dark and playing with the letters in a way of positive and negative space, which I thought was very interesting, and inverting white letters on black versus black letters on white to see kind of that wrestling match between what is the foreground and what is the middle ground and what is the background. So really good job. There's really not a right or wrong answer to the solution. Obviously, there are better ways to design the space than others, and this is kind of an intro project so I can see what's going on visually with you as you see letters, numbers, and symbols as shapes. And learning activity 2 was just a definition and information poster on the parts of the letter form. I thought Silke did a great job with this one, using illustration styles, dotted circles and arrows to kind of point things out, along with descriptions. I think as you illustrate these things and you write out the definitions, you learn them and you remember them. These are important terminology elements in your, the design speak per se. So when you're interacting with clients or talking with printers, or talking to art director or creative director, knowing things like the vertex and the X height and ligatures and baselines and the apex and point size, those are all very important, all the way down to serifs and sans serifs and scripts and terminology you may already use in your daily life. But really important just from a learning standpoint of illustrating it so you remember it. And of course it will pop up in terminology on your quiz. So that's something to keep in mind. It's a helpful reinforcer. So let's go over to the coursework page and let's take a look at the week 2. I bundled things into 2-week chunks. I think it's a little bit easier that way. It gives you some spacing time from the standpoint of the video thread or the voice thread is every single week, but the projects are kind of bundled into these 2-week folders. So if your week 1 projects, learning activity 1 and 2, get carried over a little bit. Oh, here's the blob I was telling you about. I think a really creative solution for the learning activity 1. That is just an abstract ink blot-esque interpretation, which I think is kind of fun. If your learning activity 1 and 2 carries over a little bit into week 2, I'm okay with that. That's why I bundled them into weeks 1 and 2. But you are required to do your voice thread every week as your participation points. There's no carryover for that. So let's go back here into your week 2, which is your post assessment. So here's your voice thread. It's all about the modern day hieroglyphics, which we call the emoji. I want you to go ahead and do your post this week on that. You do have the ability to comment on one of your classmates. Not required week 2. It will be required week 3 and beyond. If you'd like to do it to practice a little bit, or you think someone has a really good idea, please do that. Here is your week 2 quiz, which is your chapters 1 and 2 in your book, which is in essence your learning activity 1 and 2. That's an open book quiz. Just remember that it will be a pool of questions for your final exam. So you want to take notes wherever something isn't sticking, because it will show its face again at your written final exam. And so week 2 is all about your practicum assessment. So I thought it would be really fun, and you can see Blackbird was one of the student samples. They actually made a bird out of the lyrics of Blackbird. It's called the Beatles Lyrics Challenge. So you can choose any Beatles song, and you can actually go on to Google and just type in Beatles lyrics, and you'll get any number of websites that have the lyrics for songs and have Beatles songs like Strawberry Fields Forever, Yellow Submarine. I mean, there's so many great songs. The reason I chose the Beatles is because it's extremely visual. Their music is extremely visual. So I thought it would really help in creating this song design or song challenge. So this project is all about letting and kerning, using type, illustrate a Beatles song in a square 6x6 scale, but it really could be any size as long as it's a square. I recommend Illustrator, but you can do it in Word, you can do it in PowerPoint, you could really do it in any program that allows you to lay text down as separate text boxes. And you need to use words to illustrate this song. What it depicts doesn't have to be as literal as this, but you need it to illustrate what the song is kind of saying in the lyrics. You can only use one song, so don't be blending songs together. It needs to be black and white. You can't be distorting letters, squishing them or skewing them, but you can play with scale, proportion, and bold and italic. So if you choose a typeface that has bold and italic, you can introduce the bold and italic into your design, like the word dead in this one, and blackbird and singing, and some of the other words are italic. I would recommend at least, trying to sketch out a few ideas before you actually create it, just to give yourself a little bit of thought about page layout and design before you jump into it. And then I kind of fine-tune 3 on a piece of paper. These 3 are probably the best. For Blackbird, how many different, shapes of the bird can I look at, reference, flying, standing, to get across the idea. Remember, it needs to be something that we can tell exactly what it is, and then create one final design. No matter what program you create it in, a PDF is fine. A PDF flattens the type, and it makes the image not layered, so that I can preview it in Blackboard, and I can also open it up in basic PDF preview. So please, JPEG or a PDF of your design would be perfectly fine. I hope everyone enjoyed week 1. We're kind of hitting the ground running here. We're going to do lots of mini projects and a bunch of bigger portfolio projects to get you thinking beyond the letter form in the written word and more into the shape of the letter, number, and symbol, and the sound that it portrays, because language is a beautiful thing. So have a great week 2, and I'll attach this to your announcement for your week 2 announcement. Okay, bye.